But let me say this about that. Education gets you a job. It doesn't teach you how to make money.
And welcome back to 5 Ideas. I'm your host, Joey Nagel, along with Rich Clay. Rich is a certified professional life and leadership coach specializing in working with entrepreneurs and business leaders. He also works with athletes, actors, public speakers, and really anyone who is interested in becoming a high achiever. His mission is to strategically guide achievers to unleash their destinies. And I'm actually, if you've heard the first few episodes, I'm actually a client of Rich Clay. And Rich has coached me through several big decisions in my business and my life. Super quick background on me again. I'm currently 5 years old. I was about to say I'm currently 5 years old. You know I'm not. I've got a beard. I'm currently 25 years old. I started business school when I was 16. Started a music recording and live sound production company when I was 18. Married my beautiful wife at 21. And now my wife and I run a creative media agency with 4 full-time employees, and we are continuing to grow. Eventually, I'll have this memorized and won't have to read it off the iPad screen. So, Rich, today we're talking about, and before we even get into that, I feel like we're still early enough in the show. Let's rerun through the 5 ideas, the five different areas that are all integral together, and why it's so important that you built your coaching business around this, and the show is built around the 5 ideas as well.
Absolutely. And before we do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about our relationship. And the reason why we have a coach-client relationship is because of your desire at a very young age to be an entrepreneur. So I interview my clients as well as they interview me, and I'm looking for people that really want to achieve. And when I heard some of the things that you had accomplished at a young age, and even as a 16-year-old, your entrepreneurship, I knew that's the kind of people I want to coach. So we're looking to coach achievers. We're looking on this podcast for people who really want to maximize all of your God-given abilities.
Yep.
So 5 ideas, let's talk about it. Where did it come from? So I've been a life and leadership coach. I've been a consultant. I've done a lot of things in the area of helping people that were stuck.
Yep.
That's what coaching's all about. They get stuck. Some are serious areas. Some are as much as I want to lose weight. I want to earn more money. I want better relationships. Anyways, over the years, I noticed a pattern, and here's the pattern. Every person that I was coaching where they were stuck, I found it was in one of 5 categories, believe it or not.
And this was no matter who they were.
No matter
they
who they
an
were.
Athlete, an entrepreneur, a mom,
exactly.
Dad. Yep.
Exactly. And 5 areas, and typically had the stuckness was in the mind. So the first was health.
Yep.
The second was relationships. The third was money. The fourth was peak performance, personal growth, career development, all those kind of things. And the last one was faith and spirituality. And over and over and over again, it was one of these 5 areas. So I started focusing in my coaching sessions on integrating all 5 of these areas. So as we talked in podcast 1, sometimes somebody would come to me and say, I'm dealing with a relational problem. So I'd say, okay, tell me about it. And they would say something like, well, I work long hours. When I come home at night, I'm tired. I don't feel like talking. And that creates problems in my relationship. I go to bed.
Yep.
My significant other is mad at me. And I looked at them and I said, you don't have a relationship problem. You have an energy problem. You have a health problem. We need to get you more energy so that you can really move forward in your relationship. So all 5 I found were essential to bringing full wholeness and well-being to people who wanted to be successful.
Right. And if you've heard the last couple episodes, we really stress that you really can't be successful as a whole. You can't have this holistic success without having success in all of these 5 categories. So again, health and fitness is number 1, relationships 2, money 3, peak performance, which is just really being the best version of yourself possible, and then faith and spirituality. And these 5 different categories are all interconnected because if you really think about it, like imagine you're a billionaire, but you don't have health and you die at a young age, or imagine you've got health and money, but you spent all your time on yourself and your career and you don't have anyone to share it with. You don't have a relationship. Or imagine you've got a relationship, you got health, you got money. You're pretty much firing on all cylinders. You're a peak performer, but life's just going to end at some point when maybe you're 90 or 100 and you just turn to dust. And what does it even matter? And so we're really focused on talking about how these five different categories are all interconnected. And so in our coaching sessions, and again, if you listen to the first few episodes, this is really just a coaching session. Mm-hmm. So I'm an advocate for you guys, and we will have places where you'll be able to ask us questions that we'll be able to introduce on the show and answer those as well. But I'm an advocate sitting here in a coaching session with Rich, and we're talking through the mindset. We're talking through how to get past the stuck areas in all of these 5 categories. Some episodes we're going to focus more heavy on money, some we're going to focus more heavy on relationships, et cetera, all through the 5 ideas. And the goal of each podcast is for you to be able to take away some actual actionable ideas. That's where the ideas comes from in the name. Take away some actual ideas that you can implement in your life pretty much immediately to see some major changes in these 5 areas. So Rich, today we're talking money.
Yeah, let's talk money.
Let's talk money.
Yeah. So to start out talking about money, we're not going to talk about money because the problem is not money. The problem is what we think about money.
Ooh.
And the biggest problem that I have experienced over 35 years of life coaching is the worrying about money.
Interesting.
People worry about money.
This takes us back to episode 1.
It does.
The problem
is not the problem.
Not the problem. So you just said. So I just said, let's rewind that real quick. I just said, Rich, let's talk about money. He's like, okay, we're going to talk about money by not talking about money, and then now we're going to talk about money. So you just to recap, you're basically saying it's not money that's the problem; it's the worrying about it.
I have some clients that in the past, not now, because they've coached with me too long, but
Amen.
when they first started coaching with me, they were checking money issues daily.
Interesting.
Daily. Not that much changes in one day. So what they were really doing is they were worrying, and then they were feeding their worrying.
So they're like looking at their accounts every day.
Every day.
Okay.
Every day. And I would give them this crazy challenge. And in coaching, what we do oftentimes is we give a challenge. We don't expect the client to take it. We think they'll counteroffer, but even in the counteroffer, the challenge will be big enough to move them forward. So I gave this crazy challenge. And I said to one of my clients, I said, don't look at your finances for a month. Well, I knew he wouldn't do that. But he did. He did it. He didn't look at the finances for one solid month in his business.
He was checking he went from checking his accounts every day to like, what's in there? Are we growing fast enough, et cetera? So do we have enough? Are we going to be able to make payroll, meet the whatever the scenario was, to just not looking at it for, you said 30 days?
30 days.
30 days. Wow.
And at the
what
end
did
of
that do?
In the end of 30 days, he thought it was a challenging month, but at the end of 30 days, they were fine. And so my point is this, actually they were more than fine. It was a great month. It was a profitable month.
Wow.
But it proved my point. It proved my point that worrying about it doesn't change it. So why worry about it?
Interesting.
Why not just do what you need to do and do what you know you should do? So my whole point is, and we'll go into any questions that people have about money as they write in. We'll talk about things. We're going to give ideas. And if you're going to be a part of what we're doing, we're going to give you ideas on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
Of things that can be beneficial for your finances.
Coming up soon.
Coming up
teaser,
soon. Yeah,
teaser.
it is a teaser, right?
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter, money is a mindset.
Yep.
So I think we should talk a little bit about that.
I have one question for you on money. So as you're saying that, I feel like somebody out there is asking this question. Maybe not. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's David or Caleb on the camera. But the question I was thinking as you were talking is, you said that worrying about money doesn't really fix anything. But I'm like, could worrying about money actually take away from making it? Because I'm thinking to myself, like, the time you're spending on worrying, you could be spending on solving the actual problems that generate the money. Because I think money is simply just a byproduct of success. It's not the goal, it's a byproduct, right?
Exactly. And you brought up a key point because in my coaching industry business, here's what we deal with. Here's the deal. Worrying about money not only doesn't do anything for you, it actually takes away. Worrying is a distraction. It's a deflector. Okay, so it literally deflects wealth from coming to you. When you don't worry, it's an attraction. Why? Because money no longer is the issue. Every book, listen, I've read tons of books on wealth over my life because I wanted to know about it. Every book, popular book about wealth, will say one thing consistently throughout that, is that you should never really go after money. You should go after helping someone. You should go after a solution.
Yep.
You should go after a passion. And if you go after that, money will come after you. So if you're worrying about money, you're deflecting it.
Interesting.
And it's not controlling you because you're just doing something. It's like you've said in the first 2 podcasts, we're not doing this podcast for money.
Right.
This is a passion of mine. I want to see people have these 5 integrated things in their life operating and functioning. So we just want to help as many people as we can help.
Absolutely.
And we're convinced that the money will be more than enough.
Yep, absolutely.
At the right time.
Let's dig a little bit deeper into the mindset. So you're talking about money is really a mindset. Wealth and poverty, it's really boils down to a mindset. Now, I know that, some people start off in different scenarios. Some people are born into wealthy families. Some people are born into poor families. But let's break down this mindset thing that affects everyone across the board in the same way.
A big thing is what I've discovered is this. People look at money in 2 ways. One, I need to go out and earn money or make money.
Yep.
Or 2, I'm going to live life to the fullest. I'm going to live a quality life and money's going to come to me. 2 people. Some chase it and some it comes to them. Why? That's the question, right?
It does seem like that. It's like some people just get money so easy,
Yeah. Why is that?
Yeah.
It's mindset. It's because people see money not as something that I need more of, or if I get more of, I'm going to be happy. They see it as, how can I use it? How can I invest it? So to them, money is a tool. And to those maybe stuck in a rut, they look at money as their answer, and money's never the answer. Money's not the answer. Money is a tool to be used to find the answer.
Interesting. Ding, 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 ding. Here's an idea. This is about faith. So I just connected some dots. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you just basically said money is not a good place to put your faith.
It is not.
It is not a good place to put your faith, but a lot of people do. And why is it not a good place to put your faith?
Because there's no stability. There's no answer. And it changes.
It changes and it fails.
It changes. It's volatile.
Yeah. We watch countries. It's like you put your money in faith and then you watch the stock market, your faith goes like this. Your money goes like this and your faith goes like this and your health goes like this and your relationships go like this because you're focused, your faith, your fundamental foundation is in something that's shifty. And something that can shift. We watch economies. You can watch economies across the world collapse in a day. You can watch the American dollar fluctuate really drastically. If you're invested in Bitcoin and you've ever seen that commercial where it's like, I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. That's not a great, there's a template of something not to put your faith in. Mm-hmm. Something that changes. It's like sitting in the chair. If you've got faith in a chair, you're going to sit down in it confidently. But if you sit down in a chair that's like, 50% of the time the chair collapses, 50% of the time it stands up. That's kind of what it would be like to put your money in faith, or put your faith in money.
Yeah, and it might even have deeper dysfunctional roots. Many people are a slave to money. So many people work for money. People that understand money make money work for them.
Interesting.
That's a huge difference. Richard Kiyosaki brings that out in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He talks a lot about that. We're not to be a slave to money. You've heard the expression, there's nothing wrong with having money, but it's when money has you.
Yep.
Okay, so if you can look at money differently, and that is, I'm not here to serve, and I'm not here to work for money. I'm here to make money work for me. I want money to be a tool that I use to create more so that I can do more things in life, not to just collect more for my own security, because there's no security in that, but to have more to make it work more for me so that I can help others and bless others. Now we're getting into the power of money. We've broken through the hurdle as to why some people are set in a mindset, because there's a set point in income. Sometimes that set point is how we were raised. Sometimes that set point is what we believe we're worth. Sometimes that set point is what we think we need. But those set points are always based upon what
we think is enough.
What we think is enough, and I could do life with that.
Yeah, okay. So the set point, you're saying it's like a benchmark. Like, it's like, I've heard it pretty commonly, if I could just make 50 grand a year, I'd be good. And if I could make 100 grand a year, I'd be done. Like, I wouldn't need to go more than that. I could live life, do great, retire. And that actually, you bring up a point there. It's like, so that's what you're talking about, a set point, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But then we get into the practics, because even if you think at 50,000 you're good, you're not good if you don't have the practical things to where you are saving and you are spending less than you're spending less than you're making.
Yep.
So now we come into the practical application of finances. So that 50,000 may not mean a thing, or 100,000,
because you're spending it all, or you could,
or $500,000. Okay, so that's where money and numbers is not the issue. It's beginning to think right. It's beginning to think in terms, I won't be a slave to money. Money's going to work for me. And what is money going to do for me? Money's going to give me the opportunity to be a blessing to other people. I want to bless other people with the money that I have. And that's where the mindset comes in. And value. Some people don't think they're worth 50,000. You can't pay me enough. Whatever my clients pay me, it's not enough. I do it because I want to bless them, but my value is off the charts.
Yep.
You can't afford Rich Clay in the natural realm, but because I want to function and operate and be a blessing to you and blessing to others, then money is just something that keeps us connected.
Yep. And that doesn't just go for Rich Clay. That goes for everyone. Yes, everyone's value is off the charts, but people that don't know it, they'll settle. They'll settle for minimum wage. They'll settle for that 50,000. They'll even settle for that 100,000, which sounds pretty great to some people, but you're way more valuable than that. Every single person listening to the sound of my voice is far more intrinsically valuable than that. And I happen to believe everyone was created in the image of God. And that is of unlimited value. Now, whatever you believe, you at least know in your heart that people have value. You know that that all men were created equal. You know that everyone has, some people aren't worth $1 million and some people are only worth $8 an hour, There's this intrinsic value that we just inherently know that exists. And so this show, we will have some practical applications. Like, we could talk through budgets, we could talk through investments, but we're not really here to tell you how to budget and how to invest. There's plenty of resources out there online. especially in this day and age. You can do a Google search, and Google's going to hit you with some pretty great options for where to invest your money, how to budget. There's a lot of budgeting tools. They're all pretty much the same. But what we're getting at today is it's not budgeting. So if you listen to two episodes ago, I believe, maybe one episode ago, I don't remember now, but if you listen to our previous episode where we're talking about waking up early, it's like that's kind of the same thing as a budget. It's like everyone wants to have a budget. Everyone wants to get up early or exercise or eat healthy. I'd put a budget in that category. I'd put saving money in the same category as eating healthy. Everyone wants to. It sounds good. I get it. But until you have a why as to why you're doing it, you probably won't. Is that right, or is that a little bit off?
Absolutely. I think that's right. Totally. And
didn't mean to coach or preach. I just
no. And when we understand also that it's not about money. It's really not about money. I think you find out what you want to do in life. You find your passion and you go for it. Now, let me say something about that. That doesn't mean that maybe you don't have a job that is not your ideal passion because you need to pay rent or whatever. So I'm not against that. I'm for that. But if you live out of your passion, eventually your passion will make a way for you if you believe. But if you're tied down to, some people never move into the passion because they found security in a certain amount, set point of money. And so they're tied to that the rest of their life. I would suggest if you need to make money and then do your side hustle, do your passion in the evening or whenever you have that time so that you're living life out of your passion so that eventually that's what makes the way for you.
So you just work to fund the passion, and then eventually the passion replaces the income, and then eventually you only do the passion.
Bingo.
Well,
and that's a mindset.
Yeah, it is.
That has to change because sometimes when you go to do that, even parents will say, well,
you're just dreaming.
Aren't you going to get like a regular job?
Yeah.
How many of you ever heard that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like, you probably go to college. You should probably get a regular job that has benefits and 401k and all this security. I will say this for a quick second because I did go to college. I don't think there's right or wrong way. I think you got to do what you got to do, but I actually recommend to a lot of young people, don't go to college if you don't want to go to college. If you want to go to college, you should. But again, that you got to do this for yourself, but I would recommend to some people, there's other ways to make money that don't include going to college. There's other ways to be secure that don't include working a job with a severance package and a 401k. I now run a business, a media company. I started out as a photographer. We now run a media company that produces commercials. We generate ads and manage ads that we manage millions of dollars in ad spend. We've generated tens of millions of dollars in production. We have four full-time employees. We have our own health insurance packages, all these different things. And along the way, it didn't look like at every step that was what's going to happen. It wasn't guaranteed written if you do X, Y, and Z that this is going to happen. But my business teacher in college actually told me this. He said the most secure job you can have is working for yourself because you can actually pivot when things change. If you work for a company that you think is secure, it can fail and you can be out of a job in a day. You can't do anything about it because all your eggs were in that one basket. So sometimes what people think is secure may not be secure at all.
You brought up a good point, and it goes back to mindset. And let me add this to what you said because it's very good. And I am pro-education. I think it's good. I think it's important, but I don't think it's the only path. But let me say this about that. Education gets you a job. It doesn't teach you how to make money. So when you get an education, it probably you get a degree to be in business or medicine or education or whatever. So it gets you a job, but it doesn't necessarily teach you how to make money. And so that's where people get frustrated. They've got all of this indebtedness to education, then they go out and get a job and they have this in debt and they hit their set point in their career because every career has a set point.
Yep.
Even doctors, there's a set point, and so then they hit their set point and they're maxed out. They're living up to that set point, but they haven't learned how to make money. So I would suggest to our entrepreneurs that are listening to us, find out what's out there on how do you make money? How do you invest? I started reading books a long time ago. What do millionaires do? What do they have in common? And it's amazing. It's not huge rocket science of what they do.
Not at all.
But there's a difference between getting an education and learning how to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys want to take away anything from this, it's take a few steps back. Realize the problem isn't the problem. Realize the problem isn't a problem with money. It's usually a problem with worrying about money, which can actually take away from your ability to make it and make it in an efficient way. Can actually cause you to try to make money in ways that you don't even like to, and do things and sell yourself for things you don't even want to do just to make that money because you think your money is your security, when in fact money is super volatile, which is the opposite of secure. And really think about, like what Rich was saying, if you do have to work a job, which most people do to pay for bills, we have things in life, that's great, but don't just stop there and settle there. Continue to do what you're passionate about. Continue to think of ways that you can solve problems for other people. And if you can use your passion to solve problems, people are going to pay you for that. And you're going to be really good at it because it just comes naturally to you. And so that's what we've got.
Let me add one closing thing.
Do.
Voice of experience, okay? Because this is the young guy. I'm the
experienced
guy. The guy.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
guy.
the experienced guy.
Yeah.
If I was 20, here's what I'd do over again. I would have my job.
Yep.
I'd have my career, whatever I'm doing, but I would have a side hustle. Okay. I would have a second stream of income. One of the great things that we've been hearing over the last 10 years is have more than one stream of income.
Absolutely.
And that's, man, early America, they did that all the time. They had all kinds. But then the education system comes and says you get trained to be a lawyer, doctor, teacher.
You do one thing.
And you do one thing. I would have multiple streams of income, and the multiple streams of income, my extra income, I would reinvest into myself.
Wow.
Reinvest into learning, education, online courses. I would reinvest it into myself. And guess what? That's a tax write-off.
Yep. And we wouldn't tell you to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves. And I will say that I've done that and I continue to do that. And we're seeing a lot of success with that. I know that the guys producing the show are doing that as well. Rich Clay does that himself. And this whole show is a byproduct of us reinvesting in ourselves so that we can reinvest and invest in others. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of 5 Ideas. We're so excited and can't wait to see you in the next one.